episode. We are here to recap the Carolina Hurricanes' most recent 2 games. What's today's date, Dad?
Today's the 21st, I think.
So the 21st, so we are recapping the 2 games against the state of Pennsylvania. First up is the Pittsburgh Flyers. This was a home game for Carolina. Pretty disappointing effort overall as the Canes lose 3-1.
Philadelphia Flyers.
What did I say?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah, Philadelphia Flyers. Pittsburgh's coming up next.
Yeah.
All right, so Philadelphia Flyers. I went to this game, and the number one thing that I remember from this game is this is the first time I've been at a game and booed the team in person in, I mean, it's got to be at least 10 years.
Really?
I booed them, and then people in my crowd, in my little section, looked at me and gave me the thumbs up. We played that bad at certain stretches of the game. Now, overall, I think we probably maybe deserved to win the game. The shots were 32-24. You factor in the fact that Philadelphia had another 30 blocked shots, 30 to our 8 blocked shots.
I didn't keep track of the penalties. So I don't know how much the penalty played a role. My first impression.
We had 2 penalty minutes, and then they had 6.
Yeah.
And no one scored on the power play for either team. Shots were 12-9 at the end of the first for Philadelphia, 11-7 in the second for Carolina, and 12-5 for Carolina in the third period. And they lost 3-1. Total shots 32-24. So, first shot of the game, Kochetkov gets beat by the save that he should make every single time. There's no question. Why would any goalie ever let that in? A defender could have made that save.
Yeah.
Just an errant shot from the point. It squeaks through his armpit area, and so that right off the bat was not a good start to the game. They gave up another one in the first period, and then with the first shot of the second period, they also score. Orlov and Tony completely leave a guy wide open in the front of the net. And again, just an easy tap, not an easy tap and a good shot, but on either of the second or third goals, I don't fault Kochetkov, but that first one's just got to be saved. It just can never go in. We keep finding ways to shoot ourselves in the foot, and that was after him coming off a shutout. So hate to see it from Kochetkov. I really want him to be the guy of the future. I don't think he is. I don't think he'll ever will be.
No.
He's just not going to be the number one guy that we can depend on. He might be a nice 1A, 1B, but he's never going to be and again, still early in his career. Goalies can develop later on, but I've seen enough of a sample size to know I don't think he's going to be the future. Couple other takeaways: the Orlov and Tony experiment. It's time to break that up. That experiment's over. I don't see that ever working out. Team defense as a whole needs plenty of work. Aho was pretty unimpactful in that game. Face-off takers across the board need improvement. The players who wanted it versus the Flyers were Spetch, Fast, and Nason. All 3 of those guys had good games. And then I wrote down here, Rod or someone from the leadership needs to speak up when we whip this team into shape. This is not the level of quality we expect from the Carolina Hurricanes. Right after I wrote that, I tuned in to 99.9 The Fan, and Stahl was giving an interview, and he took some ownership of the way that the team as a whole has been playing and said, everyone's got to be better. If we're not going to commit to this team and commit to the style that we want to play, then we're just going to be ho-humming along at 500 for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I saw that.
Into the playoffs. So those are some pretty direct words from your captain that you don't often see out of him. So that was good to hear him speak up in that manner. And the team responded well the next game. But overall, like I said, it's the first time I've booed the Hurricanes in over 10 years. They were that bad. It was bad, that game.
Okay, so my takes, if
passing, just terrible across the board. Go ahead.
Yeah. What I've noticed about passing this year, maybe it was this game, but maybe it seems to be going on, is I've seen a lot of passes where a player will go to make a pass and then he'll second guess himself and then the puck just kind of floats.
Yeah.
And right to whomever the closest defender is.
Yeah. And
it's weird. I saw it twice in one game where I'm going to pass it to you. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I don't want to pass it to you. And the puck just gets away from and just, it was bad. And what that tells me is they're not yet comfortable with each other. What I know.
Why?
So
why? It's the same team as last year minus 2 players.
That's a good question. I think Tony is made one of those passes before. I think some of the third liners that have done it before. Maybe Drury's line has done it before. But anyway, what I noticed a couple things. One is you were at the game, so you didn't see the TNT broadcast before the game.
No.
Where the great one was really talking up Brind'Amour.
Yeah.
Said he was a great player. He's a great coach. He's got this team where they want to be, playing the style that they want.
Before the Flyers game?
Before the Flyers game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I noticed right away that at least what I thought was Brind'Amour was changing the lines up, because I thought Aho started on the opening line with Stahl. And Fast. No, excuse me. Yeah. Turbo was started on Stahl's line.
Yeah, he's been on that line for a couple.
In place of Fast, and Fast went to Aho's line.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that worked.
No. No.
And then I have down here at 10:10 was our first freaking shot.
No, it's not.
You don't think so?
At the Flyers game?
Yeah.
No, that's completely wrong, because my stats. No, that's not even close to right. We had at 11:57. It was a slow game to start. The shots are 3-2 to Philly. Now
okay.
Now I will say one thing.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's not 10:10. It's 18:10. Okay, so only took 2 minutes, but still.
Yeah. And then with like about 9 minutes to go, the shots were 6-3 Canes, something like that. Yeah, with 1:45 to go, the shots were tied 9-9. They came out and outshot us.
We have had so many point blank chances. Drury had one, and it made me. I wrote down that Drury is not a finisher.
No,
he's a good hustler. Maybe he's a good forechecker. He gets in front of the net, but he cannot finish a goal.
Right into the goalie. I mean, you gotta.
Yeah.
You got to pull it to the backhand. You got to do some sort of trickery. I mean, I think maybe he was just trying to slam it through his 5-hole before the goalie could react. But this isn't the AHL. Goalies are better than that. It's not going to get through.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game was sloppy across the board. And I think what you said about, they're not trusting the system or whatever. They're not trusting their passes. They're second guessing. Rod kind of echoed that. And so did Stahl's statements to a certain degree. Like, the players have to buy into the system. You got to make the right choice with the puck every single time. And it may be counterintuitive to the way that you've played in the past, but you got to stick to the system. We don't have star players. We just don't. Okay. I'll get into that a little bit later on.
Right.
I want to talk about on that, but we have to play as a team to win. And we've done that very effectively for a couple years in a row. But as of late, this has not really been the case. Any other kind of takeaways from the Philly game other than, just a bad game?
Yeah. I thought I made a couple notes about the refs letting them play.
Yeah.
Which I like to the, as long as it's not egregious. But they did miss a second delay a game penalty on the Flyers in the third. It was clearly shot out by the defenseman. Mm-hmm. And at first the commentator said, no, that was deflected. But then they had another look. They said, oh, the refs missed that one. And that would have given us a 5-on-3, and then down here, I wrote down Kane's really, really sloppy.
Yeah, very sloppy. That's why I booed. There was a moment there, I think it might have been on the power play in the third period, where we couldn't even get it past the halfway point. It was just nothing was connecting. It was just bad hockey. Again, the effort, it wasn't necessarily an effort thing. We still outshot them 32-24. Again, they had 30 additional block shots. Bunting hit the crossbar. There were moments there, but, we got to string together. I still haven't, maybe one game, still really haven't seen a full 60 minutes of Carolina Hurricanes hockey. I mean,
yeah.
I
also wrote down.
There's moments of it. There's pockets of time of it, but it's just not there yet. And, I know I've watched these games for the past, almost every game for the past 3 or 4 seasons. I know what it's supposed to look like. It hasn't looked like that yet.
Yeah.
Just that relentless nature, just has that relentless forecheck just hasn't been there. Okay, moving on to Pittsburgh. Good bounce back game. A couple days later. I was not at this game, but definitely a really good game. 4-2 was the final score of this one. Crosby with 2 goals. Crosby still, at his old age, still just absolutely wrecking it.
Yeah. Crosby's the best player in that game, in that game and on that team right now.
Oh, Crosby's amazing. I mean, I think he'll go down as a top 5 player of all time.
His first goal was kind of lucky. The pass got through and it hit him in the skate. And look what I found. But he made the most of it.
But he finishes it. And Aho has an opportunity later in the game, very similar, where it bounces to him right in front, and he has 2 whacks at it and our saves off of the keeper. Crosby's putting that in the back of the net. It's just these tinier differences between, really good player and a superstar like that. Aho did answer. He had the second goal of the game. So Crosby had the first one. Aho had the second one. That was a really beautiful play.
Beautiful.
Jarvis, Teravainen, and Aho. Classic, Finnish connection type of play there. Very smooth pass over to Aho. Kind of a no-look pass by Turbo. But yeah, just a beautiful one-time finish. Goalie was sliding over, but Aho beat him. Just a couple inches were there. Beat him low.
Yeah.
Then Burns
just missed a skate.
Take the lead. Yeah, Canes take the lead. Burns gets a one-timer from the point. I believe that was right after a power play had ended, if I'm not mistaken. It was technically an even strength goal, but blasted from the point. Really good to see. Then Crosby, of course, who else, ties it up again. And then late in the game, Jarvis gets one and then gets another with the empty net goal there. He had a really positive game.
Yeah, he did.
He was really good. Ronta was really good in this game. A couple things, Pittsburgh is a much better team than Philadelphia, but it was a good bounce back win. It was a much more evenly matched game, 34-28. We were 1 for 3 on the power play. They were 0 for 2, so penalty kill was perfect on the night. Shots were 11-11 in the first, 11-5 in the second, and 12-12 in the third. So pretty evenly matched, other than that second period there. Yeah, I mean, Ronta played really well. We did give up a breakaway on a shorthanded effort, which is something that is just way too common this season. I don't know why, but it's so many shorthanded efforts. Luckily, it hit the post. I mean, Ronta was beat. Ryan Rust had a beautiful move, dings it off the post. But it was a good bounce back game, and the Canes did play much more of their style. Not even close to nearly the level of sloppiness that was on display with the Philadelphia game. So yeah, Pittsburgh, good comeback. Any other thoughts on that game?
Well, there's another example of a D'Angelo poor pass. The Pens were on a penalty kill, and Tony gives the puck away. So I can't remember it, but my notes say shorthand rush. Rust hits the bar.
Yeah,
and that was with
he hit 2 bars actually. Hit the
and then I remember a play that I thought was really impressive because I didn't see it when it was happening. The announcers pointed it out to me.
Yeah.
Jarvis gets the puck stolen in the offensive zone.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And he rushes all the way back on the back check and stops a goal.
Yeah, whoever made the defensive play on him got the puck in the offensive zone.
Right.
He makes a defensive play back on that player, so a little tit for tat play.
And then shortly after that,
did you see the Brady Shea moment? Ronta makes a save from the side of the net.
Yeah.
The third period. Pretty sure we have the lead 3-2. Makes a save, kicks out to a wide open kind of slot area. It is right on the tape of a Pittsburgh player, and Brady Shea just fully lays out, fully commits, and just gets a blade on the block shot there to elevate it over Ronta. Otherwise, it's 3-3, and it might be a completely different game. Brady Shea's been really impressive to me this season, from a defensive standpoint as well as an offensive standpoint. So
he's a quiet player.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But he gets points. He plays good defense.
I think the move is if Orlov and Pesce can somehow work together, because I believe that Tony and Shea work together well enough. I'm comfortable with that pairing. I don't know how I feel about Pesce and Orlov together yet. Obviously, we know Pesce and Shea work together, but yet to be seen if any other combination of those guys can be mixed up, because I think you have to break up the Tony Orlov thing. I don't want to beat a dead horse on it, but that's just my opinion on that. Back to the Pittsburgh game.
Well, I kind of agree. I haven't seen anything. I mean, Orlov, he's had some moments, but he's not worth what we're paying him.
No, I don't.
Clearly.
I don't think he understands the system, and I don't know. We're pretty far along in the season. He got here early to learn the system,
right?
And kind of hasn't. So the fact that you put him with the other worst guy defensively doesn't help either. But
so my only other comment on the Pittsburgh game was
Jari had a good game too. Their goalie.
Yeah, he's a good goalie. At 1:28 to go, I guess I got to look at this. I can't tell what period it's in. Anyway, Svechnikov scores.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm all excited. I'm like, here we go. We're going to get him going. And it gets called for an offsides, a Penn's challenge.
But I think hopefully it's a confidence booster. I mean, it was a classic Svechnikov.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Shot from the left side, from his left side, on his left stick, shooting above the blocker side. I mean, it's exactly what we want out of him. So I think that'll be a confidence booster. I mean, he's been around it. It's just a matter of time. He's got to get one to go in, and then hopefully the waterfall starts. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
But John, how many games has he played? Svech.
Like all but 5. I mean, he's been there for more than not, I think, at this point.
Yeah, and he hasn't scored a goal.
I understand. We're about to get into that.
Okay, so, go ahead.
Are the Hurricanes a good team?
Yeah, of course they're a good team.
Okay, because right now we have the last playoff spot available in the East.
Right.
The last wild card spot. I would argue that right now they're an okay team. They're fine. I don't think they're a good team right now. And the reason I say that is you take away shootout and overtime wins, we're 6-7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's a losing record. You take away the 2 games for San Jose, which is a laugh of a team at this time.
Yeah.
We're 4-7. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No.
It's really
it's not where we thought we were going to be.
What I also did was I took a look at the winning percentages as of right now of the teams that we have beat and the teams that we've lost against. We are losing to higher quality teams. The teams that we lose to, on average, have had a .608 points percentage. That's not that good. .608. Let's go ahead and take that over an 82-game season. 0.608 times 82. That's 49.8. You multiply that by 2 because each game could be worth 2 points. That's 99.7 points. That doesn't even get you into the playoffs.
Maybe.
Most teams that score 99 points are not going to get into the playoffs. 100 is usually kind of a lock. Less than that, you can get in with 96 sometimes, but typically no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the teams that are beating us statistically would be teams that are just squeaking into the playoffs. Now, the teams that we beat on average only have a points percentage of .479. Okay, you're absolutely not making the playoffs with that sort of points percentage. Okay, the Canes' point percentage right now is .588. Okay, we've played 17 games this season. 17 divided by 82, that's 20%. We've played 20% of the season. We're 1/5 of the way through. The sample size is big enough. I do not think that this team is as good or will be as good by the end of the season as the teams we've had either of the past 2 seasons. I think we don't take for granted how hard it is to perform. We do take for granted how hard it is to perform in this league at an elite level. And the fact that we were able to do it for 2 seasons in a row, everyone just assumed we'd be able to do it again.
Yeah.
That's clearly not the case. That's not how it works. Other teams get better. Just because you have the same core of guys doesn't mean that they're not going to age in a certain way or pick up certain habits along the way that aren't going to be a detriment to the team as the team progresses. So right now, no, the Carolina Hurricanes, in my eyes, are not a good team. Sure, they're fine. They're in the middle of the pack. I guess it's semantical on where you want to draw the line of good. But to me right now, they are not a good hockey team.
Right now, so I guess my counter would be that our star players haven't started scoring.
I'm going to stop you right there. We don't have star players.
Okay.
Something we've heard about for years.
Our star players, the stars on our team.
That's fine. But we've heard about it for years and years and years. And as Hurricanes fans, we always want to say, oh, no, the national media is not right about that. We do have star players. We can win with the players that we have. We don't need a Connor McDavid to win it. Okay. I took a look into the stats on some things related to that. Okay. Right now, Aho is tied for 61st in points.
Yeah.
In the NHL. 61st in points. I went ahead and looked at the teams who have players where their number one scorer has scored the same or less than Aho has. Okay. The stats I found, I think, are pretty damning on the fact that we're not a team that's built to make it far into the playoffs if we don't have a true superstar, okay? We've got Buffalo. Dahlin is their highest scoring player. He has 15 points, equal to Aho. Now, Aho missed a couple games in the season. That's fine. We're not going to take that into account here. Dahlin is a defenseman, okay?
Yeah.
He's a defenseman. There's no reason that Aho doesn't have more points than him. Then when you look at the Flames, Elias Lindholm, I believe, has like 12 points. Not very good. No one on the Flames has a lot of points. The Flames did not make the playoffs last year. Who else didn't make the playoffs last year? Buffalo. Neither did Chicago or the Sharks or Washington. The only team with a player who has as many or lesser points as their highest scoring player who did make the playoffs last year is the Islanders, who I believe were the number 8 seed in the East.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go Buffalo, Dahlin, Flames, Elias Lindholm. Chicago, Connor Bedard is there. He's a rookie. He's got 15 points. Columbus, Provorov. Islanders, Noah Dobson, another defenseman. Sharks, Thomas Hertl, and Washington, Ovechkin. Those players that I just listed all have equal or lesser points than Sebastian Aho. And all of them are on teams that did not make the playoffs last year, other than the New York Islanders, who were the very last seed. Okay? Our big boys need to be big boys. Okay? It's time for Aho to start making his money. 15 points and being the team leader is good. You got to be better. We just need him to be better. He needs to be impactful every single game, and he hasn't been. Svechnikov, too. Svechnikov, I'm giving a little bit more of a pass on. I'm giving a little more time to. He's coming back from injury. I do think he is playing well. I do notice him out there, even just from a physical perspective, pretty much every single game, but he's not scoring. I need him to score. We need him to score if we're going to be a successful team. Okay? And then the last point is that the goalies have just been average. We didn't think that they were going to be great, but, every now and then it'd be nice to get a game stolen. Now, Kochetkov probably has the highest ceiling, but he has also got the lowest floor on that.
Yeah.
Right? So, it's boom or bust with him. And then, one other, I didn't write it down here, but, in terms of time on ice, you know, when you think of like a star defenseman, you think of a guy who just eats up the minutes, right? Even forwards, those guys eat up the minutes. Okay, our best defenseman is probably Jacob Slavin, but Brett Burns, maybe from an offensive perspective, you give him the edge. He leads our team in time on ice. He's 40th in time on ice on average in the NHL. Okay, so that just is another point that leads to the fact that we don't have stars, and I think the national narrative around that does have some validity. Okay, every team I just listed who doesn't have a star isn't going to make the playoffs. So, there's something here. Like, we've got to get more goals. We've got to have our best players be our best players. The fact that Turbo has 9 goals and 2 assists right now is fucking fantastic. I would love to have him stay at this rate of goals to assists rather than the other way around, which is how he typically is. Right. So, the fact that he's helping out does help, but we just need more scoring, especially from the big guys. We're only going to get maybe 10 goals each from Stahl, Fast, and Martinook.
Yeah, and how many have we gotten so far?
I think Jordan Stahl has 1 or 2 goals, and Jesper Fast has 1, and Martinook has 1 in a shootout, and I believe that's it.
Yeah, that line usually is more productive. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I mean, and it was going into the season that the THG said the same thing. Where are the Kings going to get scoring?
Yeah,
because he felt that was their Achilles heel, and he's proven outright. There's just, you go back and look at stats over the years. No Kane is ever in the top 10, or it's very rare they're in the top 10 in scoring. Some of that's the system.
The last time that a Hurricanes player scored 100 points in this season,
Stahl
in 2006, and we won the Stanley Cup.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of why I'm pointing to the fact that right now the Hurricanes are an okay hockey club. They might get into the playoffs. They're probably going to get into the playoffs. I'm being a little doom and gloomy at the moment. They're probably going to get a little bit better. But the stats I just read.
No, I don't think you're being doom and gloomy.
They don't paint a promising picture.
Yeah, I don't think you're being doom and gloomy. It's tough in this league, right? Yep. I mean, just look at the Edmonton Oilers.
Yep.
They got the 2 best forwards in the league.
Yep.
And how many wins have they got so far? Like 3, because you need a full team. You need a full complement. So I'm just trying to, when you talk about the team, I'm just trying to think what has changed from last year. We brought in D'Angelo and Orlov. We brought in Bunting. Who did we lose?
We lost Paul Stastny and Derek Stepan.
Yeah.
You're not losing much.
Did we lose a defenseman? Was Cole on the team last year, or was that?
No, that was
okay.
We didn't lose anyone on defense. We didn't lose anyone on the goaltending front. We didn't lose anything that wasn't on the 4th line. Why are we worse this year?
We had to lose someone in defense because you brought in 2, and Chatfield's healthy scratch, so there's one person out.
Sure, maybe we did. I don't.
Maybe it was Coughlin. But he didn't start that off.
Still on the team. He's just on the.
Yeah. Okay. So who do we have tomorrow?
So that brings me. You kind of segued there nicely. Edmonton Oilers. That's a trap game.
Yeah, it's a big trap.
100% a trap game. They are desperate for a win.
Yeah.
Best players in the world.
Yeah. It could be 8-0.
I'm going to that game. I'm not looking forward to going to that game. I don't have good feelings going into that game. So. Hopefully they can do it and get a nice little early Thanksgiving treat. Yeah. But it's going to be a tough game. That team is desperate for a win. And you never count on a team that's that desperate, especially a team that's that dangerous and that desperate. Like, they still have Switch Army knives galore on that team.
Yeah, they do.
So we'll see what happens. Yeah, we've got the Oilers coming up. Then obviously a little bit of a Thanksgiving break. And then let's see real quick. We'll go ahead and check out the schedule coming up here. We've got the Oilers at home on Wednesday. Then we've got a Friday game versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. And then we play the Columbus Blue Jackets on Sunday. All three of those games are at home. Columbus game should be a win. Tampa Bay, you can never know how that's going to go. It could go either way. And then this Oilers game, like I said, it's got trap game written all over it. They're a bad team who's desperate for a win with some absolutely dangerous players on that team. So, the week ahead, and then the following week, we've got Philadelphia on Tuesday. That's an away game. And then we've got the Islanders at home. So the schedule, for the rest of this month, statistically speaking, isn't necessarily the best teams other than Tampa Bay. Is, pretty decent. I think right now their points percentage is just a little bit lower than ours.
Yeah, Kucherov's back.
Well, Vasilevsky is going to probably be back soon. Maybe not by this Friday, but he's practicing with the team. So hopefully we can face Johansson again rather than Vasilevsky. But any other thoughts before we sign off?
No, I mean, this has the makings of a long year, and as you were talking, I started thinking this may be the first time I would say that Don Waddell didn't exceed expectations in the off season.
Yeah, we're seeing that. I mean, I think they got to find the right fit for Bunting. They kind of shifted him all around the lineup.
He's kind of fallen. He's kind of disappeared, hasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to make plays when you're not playing with the top guys and not getting the top minutes. So I don't know how much I'm really. The reason he's moved down the lineup is because his play hasn't been good. That being said, I haven't seen his play be bad. So Rod is the one that's shifting him down the lineup rather than keeping him on the top two pairings. So we'll see. If he can kind of improve his game. That fourth line really needs to become the third line. And when I say fourth line, I mean the Bunting, Nason, Drury, however, when you configure those guys, that is technically the fourth line. That needs to be the third line because the Stahl, Martinook, fast line, that's your fourth line, right? That's the shutdown line. We need three lines because they're not going to be a scoring line. And so that traditional fourth line needs to become a scoring line.
And the importance to you is the amount of minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you got to play more minutes, get more opportunities. It is that simple. The math does add up. But you earn those minutes too, right? And so if I still trust Rod, I'd like to see us finally follow through with what his orders are and as far as the style of play. But if the team can't do that, he might need to switch things up and go back to, kind of a different style of play here. If the team keeps just kind of withering along like this up until, mid-season or so.
What is and I apologize for not knowing this, but what is the trade windows in hockey? Can you do trades now or up until a certain, you can do trades now.
You can do trades now. Yeah. You can do trades now. And then, some minor trades happened fairly recently, like a couple fourth line AHL players on some East Coast teams, I believe, got swapped. I think Tampa Bay had a trade recently, but yeah, you can do it. You can do trades up until the trade deadline, which I believe is in March.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean the season goes.
I would think, John. That as the season goes along, maybe that's what you're about to say, that teams are going to start thinking about, dumping salaries and making trades and such. Players may,
Sure, but I don't know how much wiggle room we have. We've got to get rid of cap to get cap. So
you're going to have to eat some of Orlov's. Tony would go on waivers probably.
Orlov, I don't think I would imagine he's got some sort of no trade clause.
I think he does.
Sure, but I would imagine he does. Anyways, just to recap things, last thing I'll say about the Canes kind of dwindling. I know we kind of dragged on. We wanted to keep this concise, but this isn't just a trend that's happening right now, okay? If you look at the end of last season, in March of last season,
we were
8-8. In April of last season, we were 5-3, okay? That's 13-11 to end the regular season last year. 13-11 extrapolated out over a full season. That doesn't get you into the playoffs.
Mm-mm.
So again, it's not just this year. You know, something's got to give pretty soon. We'll see what happens. Hopefully the Canes can turn around these upcoming weeks, finish off this homestand with a strong few wins. But other than that, we'll be signing off. I'm John Willis. That's Brad Willis. Thank you for listening to StormWatch.
See you. Bye-bye.